The series opens in the future, in a destroyed city with bombs going off in the distance. A young man armed with a katana is on the brink of death, regretting that his life has been cut short just as it was beginning and thinking this has got to be the worst way to die. In the present day, Takeru Kusanagi is a student at the Anti-Magic Academy, an institution that trains inquisitors, soldiers dedicated to preventing witches from causing havoc in the world. Takeru stands out because he prefers a katana over guns or magic, a choice that often subjects him to ridicule from his peers. His motivation to become a highly paid inquisitor comes from his desire to clear the debts left to him by his parents and to take care of his beloved sister. He serves as the captain of the 35th Test Platoon, aka the Small Fry Platoon, a team known for being the least effective in the school. The team includes himself, Usagi Sayonji, a sniper with stage fright, and Ikaruga Suganami, a tech genius with a penchant for harassing people, especially Usagi. Uka Otori, a combat prodigy and the adopted daughter of Academy Chairman Sugitsu. Otori is demoted from her inquisitor position due to an unjust execution of a witch. She returns to the Academy as a new member of the 35th Platoon, and the group is awestruck by the new addition, whose reputation precedes her. Takeru reveals he used to be classmates with her, but to his disappointment, Uka has no idea who he is. The platoon is tasked with recovering a magical artifact from black market dealers. The mission commences, but despite their individual talents, their teamwork is lacking, leaving Takeru to confront multiple gunmen on his own, while Usagi mistakenly targets the wrong building. The gunmen insult Takeru's katana, and when they call his precious sword a scrap metal, he becomes furious and demonstrates his skills by slicing bullets in half. Ikaruga steps in, using his sister's voice to calm Takeru down, while Uka takes care of the gunman herself. One of the gunmen performs an instant magic and a dragoon. One of the Inquisitor's weapons appears before them. The machine attacks Uka, but she dismantles it with swift moves. During the mission, Takeru stumbles over a stray bullet and accidentally gropes Uka's breasts. This leads to him being knocked out by a sniper shot from Usagi, which by coincidence hits the right target, causing Takeru to fall into Uka's breasts once again. Unimpressed with the 35th Platoon's performance, Uka harshly criticizes their shortcomings and says she thinks Takeru is a disgrace as a captain. To make things right with Uka, Takeru decides they should throw her a welcome party, and when she enters the room, they greet her with a celebratory mood. But Uka isn't impressed. On the contrary, she is disappointed that they would spend their times for something like that. Takeru notices the huge wound on her back and follows her out, reminding her that she can't disobey him, as he is, after all, her captain. When she attempts to go on a solo mission, Takeru insists on accompanying her as her captain, as she is wounded. Together, they set their sights on Valhalla, a criminal witch organization that had shown interest in the artifact. While investigating, they come across the distressing sight of a deceased girl used as a human sacrifice. Uka contemplates taking revenge on the gunmen they had previously arrested, but is stopped by Takeru. Uka then reveals her deep-seated hatred for witches and magic, driven by the murder of her parents and sister by a witch. During the heat of the moment, Uka points her gun at Takeru, but he promises to become her trusted comrade in her quest for justice. Meanwhile, Takeru becomes the subject of surveillance by a young girl with radiant violet eyes. Takeru fondly recalls a past memory of how Uka defeated him in a war game during their first year at the academy, despite his self-confidence in swordsmanship. Meanwhile, Uka becomes aware that someone within the 35th Platoon may be a potential Relic Eater candidate, capable of forming a contract with a legendary magical weapon. This piques the interest of Lapis, a mysterious girl with violet eyes who exists in the form of a magical weapon and is eager to establish such a contract. In a different location, a young witch from Valhalla named Mari Nikaido meets with Haunted, a necromancer and alchemist who has just committed a gruesome act, sacrificing 50 lives for a new spell. Akai learns that Takeru's motivation for becoming an inquisitor is primarily driven by the lucrative financial rewards it offers, and condemns his selfish reasons. In response, Ikaruga says she's heard the rumors about Uka being called a calamity, a plague who kills criminals without being ordered to and leaves bloodstains in her wake. Uka doesn't deny anything and leaves. While visiting the graveyard, Takeru learns the tragedy behind Uka's family's death. She says the nickname Calamity suits her perfectly because she loses control every time she faces vicious criminals and blood rushes to her head. She loses herself and pulls the trigger. She asks Takeru if he could abandon his humanity to get revenge, like she did, and tells him that other people are obstacles for her revenge, which leaves Takeru speechless. Meanwhile, Haunted initiates a powerful spell, summoning an armored being known as an Einherjar, which is the resurrected soul of King Arthur, armed with a handheld railgun infused with the magic of Excalibur. Haunted commands the Einherjar to free imprisoned witches held beneath the Anti-Magic Academy. While running after Uka, who's run off on her own towards the explosion they've seen, Takeru briefly encounters Lapis, who says only 2 words, "Still alive." Before he can question the meaning of this, he gets a brief about the Einherjar through his earpiece. The entire academy take up their arms for the upcoming battle. However, Takeru tells Ikaruga and Usagi to run, that fighting such power is futile. He, on the other hand, won't leave Uka by herself, so he'll fight by her side, and to stop her from going berserk. During the ensuing battle, Uka struggles against the formidable Einherjar. Refusing to die at the hands of such a puny threat, she reveals that she is also a relic eater, using magic to summon twin pistols named Vlad, with whom she temporarily forms a contract. Right when she begins doing some damage to the Dragoon, however, Vlad's true master, the chairman, suddenly reclaims the guns. In this critical moment, Takeru intervenes to protect the defenseless Uka. Takeru feels vengeful and angry at the Dragoon, something he hasn't felt in a long time, because it hurt Uka. The team finds out that the Dragoon is at its most vulnerable right after he shoots, so Takeru attacks him accordingly, followed by Usagi firing a shot at him. However, the Dragoon uses a magic spell that Takeru is unable to escape from. Despite his remarkable skills, Takeru sustains life-threatening injuries, reminiscent of the opening scene from episode 1, and teeters on the brink of death. However, Lapis appears by his side and forms a contract with him as he's chosen as the second contractor. After being asked a few questions about being an Inquisitor and his will to annihilate witches and abandon his humanity, the contract is made. This contract not only heals Takeru's wounds, but also transforms him into a formidable suit of witch hunter armor, wielding an indestructible sword with the unique ability to absorb an enemy's magic and use it against them. With this newfound power, Takeru absorbs the magical strength of Excalibur and defeats the Einherjar with a single devastating strike, leaving Haunted deeply impressed by his abilities. Takeru reassures Uka that she is no longer alone in her struggles before succumbing to exhaustion and collapsing with his head resting in her lap. Uka, somewhat reluctantly, admits that the situation isn't so bad after all. The chairman has a meeting with the imprisoned Auroral witch, Mari Nikaido, who is suffering from magical amnesia. He devises a plan to make her an academy student, hoping to use her as bait to lure out Valhalla, a group thereafter. Back at the academy, the chairman provides some insights about Lapis, explaining that she is a sword-type relic who chose Takeru due to his exceptional sword skills. Lapis has enrolled as a member of the 35th platoon, using the alias of Takeru's sister. The chairman issues orders for the 35th platoon to guard Mari, the newly recruited witch. Uka is enraged at the prospect of having to protect a witch like Mari. Mari, on the other hand, is fitted with a Gleipnir necklace designed to explode if she attempts to use magic. The tension escalates as Mari and Uka engage in a heated confrontation, which intensifies as they compete academically, with Uka excelling physically and Mari displaying superior intellectual capabilities. Takeru, however, remains unfazed by Mari's witch status and treats her as an integral part of the team. Mari expresses her desire to utilize her magic for the benefit of others and prove that not all magic is harmful and evil. Elsewhere, Haunted, who has an unhealthy obsession with Mari, recalls that Mari only agreed to work with him under the condition that he refrains from harming innocent people. Despite this, He went on to murder academy students, erase Mari's memory, and frame her for the crimes. Takeru intervenes in the clash between Uka and Mari, but Uka quickly realizes that Takeru is already addressing Mari by her first name. This realization ignites a new rivalry as both girls attempt to make each other jealous. Usagi enters them into a mock battle tournament against other academy platoons. As part of the chairman's scheme, Mari is told to live with Takeru, potentially making her an easier target for Valhalla. Jealous and wary, Uka insists on living with both of them to prevent any possible romantic advances from Mari. However, they are all in for a surprise when strange occurrences in Takeru's apartment suggest it may be haunted. An incident in the shower leads to an embarrassing situation with both girls ending up naked on top of Takeru, for which he faces consequences. Amidst all this, Mari confides in Takeru about her concerns regarding her differences as a witch compared to her human teammates. During the mock battle tournament, the 35th platoon struggles in the first round until Mari unexpectedly acts as a decoy, allowing them to secure victory. Uka reluctantly acknowledges that they would have lost without Mari's contribution. Ikaruga finds amusement in Mari's tsundere tendencies, meaning her harsh exterior was quick to resolve into a team player, and the 35th platoon celebrates their tournament win, with the exception of Uka, who delivers a report to the chairman. To her shock, she learns that Mari was a member of Valhalla and has been accused of murder. Takeru remains confident that Mari and Uka could eventually become good friends. However, Mari continues to experience memory flashes that leave her concerned about her past actions and whether she may have been involved in something sinister. Takeru reassures her that he is determined to find a way to bring out the good in her. The next day, Uka approaches Takeru with troubling news. Mari has been accused of murder, but many details surrounding the case don't seem to add up. Meanwhile, the chairman is expecting Valhalla to show up any time now, and soon enough, as the second round of the mock battles unfolds, Haunted appears on the scene, committing a gruesome act by murdering 2 students and several soldiers in the arena. He declares his intention to rescue Mari, trapping both himself and the 35th platoon behind a formidable magic barrier. Haunted openly professes his twisted love for Mari and tells her if she doesn't return his feelings, he will kill her. Takeru activates his relic eater and launches an attack, but Haunted proves to be a more skilled swordsman, stabbing Takeru in the chest. Fortunately, Lapis manages to heal his injuries. Ikaruga wakes Usagi from her unconscious state by making a rather unconventional comment about her large breasts, though one of her eyes is injured. Uka successfully contacts the chairman and threatens to expose his involvement in Mari's unlawful arrest for murder, highlighting that the evidence points to Haunted's despair magic as the culprit behind the murders, while Mari can only use auroral magic. The chairman offers Uka a deal to keep this information confidential. Lapis reveals that Haunted is wielding the legendary weapon, Dine's Life. Haunted then proceeds to remove the amnesia spell that had clouded Mari's memory. Mari recalls that Haunted had kidnapped her friends from an orphanage and promised to keep them safe as long as she worked for Valhalla. He offers to let her see her friends again if she goes with him. However, Takeru, having seen through Haunted's deception, informs Mari that her friends are no longer alive, a fact that Haunted eventually confirms. Takeru tells Mari that if she wants to atone for her sins, she should use her magic to save other people, to do good. But if that turns out to be too hard for her and if she ever feels like giving up, she can come to him, and he will carry half of the burden for her. As Takeru engages in a duel with Haunted, the necromancer throws one of the students he's killed at Takeru, and stabs him when he's distracted. Mari, filled with anger, attempts to cast a spell at Haunted to protect Takeru, but misses, as her necklace, which would explode if she used magic, is about to detonate. It's suddenly deactivated, thanks to Uka's agreement with the chairman since Mari was innocent of the murders. Uka and Usagi then distract Haunted, allowing Mari to cast an incredibly powerful spell, albeit with another missed target. However, her true aim is revealed to be Takeru, who absorbs the spell into his sword and uses it to defeat Haunted. Haunted, in his final moments, reveals that he knows Takeru hails from a clan of demon hunters, before disappearing through a portal. Exhausted, Takeru collapses as the magical barrier dissipates. Mari, with tears of gratitude, thanks Takeru for keeping her safe and expresses her happiness at having met him. Later, Mari officially becomes an academy student before engaging in yet another argument with Uka regarding their respective breast sizes. Usagi's mother drops the bombshell of bringing forward the date of her arranged marriage due to her poor grades and tells her this will be her last month in the academy, causing her immense stress. The academy kicks off its witch hunting festival, offering students the opportunity to earn extra credit and money. Takeru, with his pressing financial situation caused by family debts and the responsibility of supporting his little sister, immediately signs up the 35th platoon for the festival. Meanwhile, Usagi decides not to inform her friends about her impending arranged marriage. She has an unfortunate encounter with Reima Tenmyoji, the festival organizer, and her cruel fiancé, who views her as his possession. This encounter triggers a panic attack, and Takeru rushes to her side, offering comfort and promising to assist her. Usagi eventually faints from the overwhelming fear. Uka receives a summons to meet with the youthful-looking student council president, Nagaru Hoshijiro, who seeks her help in dealing with a legendary witch named Mephistopheles, known for its ability to shatter people's minds. Takeru stays by Usagi's side in the hospital, where she clings to his hand even in her sleep. Nagaru suspects a connection between Reima and Mephistopheles, as Reima's arrival at the academy coincided with the murders of several students, including one whose mind was shattered. Usagi confides in Takeru about her situation with Reima, and he invites her to spend the night at his apartment. Usagi believes that Takeru's plan is to get her pregnant to prevent the marriage, and she surprisingly agrees to the idea. Although Takeru had no such intention, they nearly share a kiss when Usagi tries to seduce him while naked in his living room. However, their intimate moment is abruptly interrupted by the arrival of Mari, Uka, and Ikaruga, who, consumed by jealousy, administer severe punishment to Takeru for not attempting to seduce them as well. Takeru appeals to the girls for help in saving Usagi's future by raising her grades enough to allow her to remain in school. Their plan involves performing well in the witch hunting festival and earning the extra credit needed for Usagi to improve her grades. Ikaruga, in her pursuit of a successful festival event, proposes a cosplay event that causes considerable embarrassment for everyone involved. Uka notices that Reima has covered the school with white symbols. Reima discloses that Usagi is an outcast in her own family and accuses her of killing her own brother. In response, Takeru vows to protect Usagi, while Reima swears to take her away. Uka utilizes her relic eater, Vlad, to investigate the white symbols and discovers that they form a large magic circle designed to control people's minds. When Reima confronts Usagi and brings up her deceased brother, she suffers another panic attack. President Nagaru becomes aware that her subordinate, Shizuka, has had her mind broken, and they both draw their guns. Shizuka, who has survived, reveals to Uka that she is Mephistopheles and, with Reima's assistance, takes control of Uka. This possession enables Uka to deactivate Mira's Gleipnir necklace, restoring her ability to use magic. Nagaru, who has also survived this ordeal, informs Takeru about the situation. Mephistopheles faces difficulties while trying to control Uka's body because Uka is a relic eater, and her resilient soul refuses to succumb. Nagaru informs Takeru that the Academy possesses Mephistopheles' original body, which she desires to reclaim. Lapis locates Usagi in the Academy church, prompting Takeru to rush to her rescue while Mari deals with the magic circle. Usagi is haunted by dreams of her brother, who tragically died while playing with a rifle. Her attempts to intervene resulted in his accidental death. She awakens to find Reima plotting to harass her on their wedding night. In response, she fights back and bites him on the neck. Enraged, Reima attempts to kill her, but Takeru intervenes and saves her. Usagi departs to help Mari, while Takeru confronts the furious Reima. Usagi retrieves a rifle that belonged to her grandfather and is given 2 special bullets by Ikaruga, designed to obliterate Mephistopheles' soul. While Mari deals with the spell, Mephistopheles nearly shoots her, but Usagi intervenes to stop her. Mephistopheles curses Usagi with a lust spell, inciting every nearby boy to make unwelcome advances toward her. Takeru easily exposes Reima as a coward. Mephistopheles almost takes aim at Mari again, but is halted by Takeru. Mephistopheles reveals her ability to summon and control Uka's relic eater, Vlad. Usagi arrives, only to be deceived by Mephistopheles, who falsely claims that Takeru has been transformed into Mephistopheles, resulting in a tense three-way standoff, as Usagi grapples with uncertainty about whom to shoot. Uka's resilient soul resurfaces and compels Usagi to shoot Uka, expelling Mephistopheles, after which Usagi uses the second bullet to shoot Mephistopheles directly, destroying her soul. Mari succeeds in stopping the spell. Later on, the 35th Platoon's cosplay cafe proves to be a disaster, as the girls' unpleasant personalities drive customers away. Usagi reveals that, thanks to Takeru's assistance, her engagement has been cancelled, allowing her to remain at school. In a gesture of gratitude, Takeru rewards her by patting her head, fulfilling her desire. The chairman receives information about the lost matrix and decides to have a conversation with Ikaruga about her family. The chairman discloses the existence of the lost matrix to Ikaruga, a cell containing the genetic material of a dark elf. The alchemist company is on the verge of cloning it for weapon development. However, Ikaruga, who was genetically engineered by her family to work for the alchemist company, refutes this possibility, citing that the cell has been missing for several years. The chairman suspects that she may possess information about the cell's whereabouts. The 35th Platoon faces a shortage of credits needed to pass the school year. While brainstorming ideas to earn these credits, Ikaruga unexpectedly announces her decision to take a leave of absence. Takeru becomes suspicious as this is an unusual farewell from her, as she has never said goodbye like this before. It becomes apparent to everyone that Ikaruga has been displaying abnormal behavior throughout the day. Meanwhile, scientist Isuka Suginami, who had betrayed the alchemist company and now works for Valhalla, discusses her recent failure in resurrecting the Dark Elves with Haunted. Isuka receives a telepathic message from her sister, Ikaruga. Takeru and the girls follow Ikaruga as she disappears into the sewers. Ikaruga informs Isuka that she possesses the Dark Elf cell and proposes a trade. She will give it to her sister in exchange for the opportunity to observe all future Dark Elf experiments. It is also revealed that Ikaruga was on the verge of execution by the alchemist company, prompting her to steal the cell and escape to continue her private experiments. Takeru and the girls become lost in the sewers and narrowly avoid being shot by mafia members. They rescue Ikaruga from mercenaries hired by Isuka, but Takeru and Ikaruga end up separated from the rest of the group. With Takeru wounded, Ikaruga takes him to a nearby safe house and warns her sister that if any harm befalls the 35th Platoon, she will destroy the Dark Elf cell. Meanwhile, the chairman is informed by the alchemist company that they never authorized research into resurrecting the Dark Elves. Concluding that the laboratory conducting this research has gone rogue, the alchemist company provides the chairman with 150 new dragoons to assist in thoroughly dismantling the lab and eliminating all of its research. The chairman mobilizes every available knight and witch hunter, declaring war on the rogue laboratory. Uka, Mari, and Usagi are held captive at the laboratory and are subjected to interrogation by Isuka, who expresses surprise that Ikaruga has managed to make friends. Through a series of flashbacks, it is revealed that as a young child, scientist Ikaruga began to question her purpose in life and created a baby wood elf, naming her Canaria. Fearing execution for creating a wood elf with no magical powers, Ikaruga stole the Dark Elf cell and attempted to escape with Canaria, but the baby had already been disposed of. Isuka chose to remain with the alchemist company. Ikaruga enrolled at the Anti-Magic Academy, where any attempt by the alchemist company to retrieve the cell would be seen as a declaration of war against the Inquisitors. When Takeru questions her about her desire to bring back the Dark Elves, Ikaruga responds provocatively, expressing her wish to experience intimacy before a potential demise. Ikaruga and Takeru's encounter is disrupted by the arrival of alchemist helicopters. Promising Takeru that they'll have to postpone any intimate activities, she professes her love for him and shares a kiss before drugging him to prevent him from following her. Meanwhile, Mari, Uka, and Usagi manage to escape from the alchemist lab, but decide to go back inside to rescue Ikaruga. However, their plans are put on hold when they are confronted by the chairman, who is leading his army to wage war. He arms them, authorizes the use of their relic eaters, and joins the battle. Takeru, having recovered from the drug's effects, activates Lapis, equipping his witch hunter armor and sword. He fights his way past the alchemist-controlled dragoons. The chairman initiates his assault on the lab, and Takeru is joined by Uka, while Usagi and Mari provide long-range support with their sniping skills. Inside the lab, Isuka reveals that after Ikaruga's escape, she was subjected to modifications by the scientists, making her more focused and causing her to experience pain whenever she felt emotions to prevent her from escaping, like Ikaruga did. Instead of surrendering the Dark Elf cell, Ikaruga is determined to destroy the Dark Elf project and escape with Isuka, fulfilling their plans from 4 years ago. However, Isuka shoots Ikaruga in the leg and demands she hand over the cell. Ikaruga then discloses that her experiments with the cell resulted in nanomachines, which she implanted in her own body to alter her DNA, effectively making her a copy of the DNA within the cell. She activates these nanomachines, transforming herself into a Dark Elf. Using Dark Elf magic, she creates an antimatter bomb and threatens to destroy the entire lab to save Isuka. Isuka, overwhelmed by the pain of her emotions, is on the verge of agreeing to leave when they are both attacked by Haunted, who fatally wounds Isuka. Ikaruga, filled with rage and determination, sets off her bomb, obliterating the top floor of the lab. She tries to heal Isuka with her nanomachines, but they are still imperfect and fail. Isuka shares that Ikaruga's wood elf baby, Canaria, is still alive and with Valhalla before succumbing to her injuries. Haunted summons a mechanical dragon to destroy the building. Takeru saves Ikaruga from falling, and together with Uka they engage the dragon in combat, while Usagi uses a wall-mounted railgun to target it. Uka sustains injuries, and Takeru's relic eater depletes its magic and shuts down before he can land the final blow. Mari quickly transfers her magic to Takeru's sword, enabling him to deliver the decisive strike, defeating the dragon. Ikaruga resolves to continue fighting, now that she knows Canaria is waiting for her. Takeru promises to assist her, and he pats her on the head, providing comfort as she mourns the loss of Isuka. After Ikaruga's return to the academy, the 35th Platoon plans an undercover mission to thwart the black market trade of artifacts. Ikaruga doubts the girl's abilities for this mission, as it involves going undercover in a gentleman's club and entertaining guests. At the club, Aoka struggles with male customers, and when one of their targets gropes her, she retaliates with a punch, only to find out they had the wrong target. Eventually, they manage to arrest the real target, but Uka feels down about her initial mistake. Unfortunately, the confiscated magical ring they thought was valuable turns out to be nearly worthless. Ikaruga suggests that the ring might contain a love spell, leading to an argument among the girls about who should test it. In the end, the ring gets stuck on Takeru's finger, and they discover it actually contains a spell of drunkenness. This causes the girls to behave strangely. Usagi talks like a baby and makes advances toward Takeru. Mari becomes emotional and cries over her breast size. Uka becomes extremely happy and also gets handsy with Takeru. And Ikaruga becomes overly romantic before vomiting on him. Lapis, on the other hand, sits in her chair with the hiccups. The following day, the 35th Platoon heads to the beach to investigate the manipulated weather causing an unusually prolonged summer. Ikaruga reveals her dislike for hot weather, but Takeru insists on having some fun. During their beach day, Mari and Usagi become jealous of Lapis sitting on Takeru's lap during the bus ride. Despite their attempts to investigate, they eventually change into swimsuits and enjoy beach games while Ikaruga stays in the shade. Lapis shows an interest in fishing. A turn of events leads to Takeru's stomachache and the discovery of an injured boy attacked by a sea monster. Lapis confirms it's a rare magical sea hare responsible for the extended summer. With Takeru's condition, Ikaruga incapacitated by the heat, and Uka unable to swim without sinking, the task of capturing the sea hare falls to Usagi, Mari, and Lapis. Lapis suggests using a fishing approach and attaches Usagi and Mari to a fishing rod. The sea monster appears and starts touching Mari and Usagi with its tentacles. Takeru recovers and activates his witch hunter armor to rescue the girls, but sinks underwater due to the armor's weight. While submerged, Lapis transforms the sword into a fishing rod that Takeru uses to capture the sea hare. Uka deactivates Mari's Gleipnir necklace, allowing her to use magic with Takeru's fishing rod to launch the sea hare onto the beach, defeating it. After their successful mission, Uka treats Mari, Lapis, and Usagi to ice cream as a reward for their efforts in defeating the monster without her assistance. Takeru pays a visit to his younger sister, Kiseki, who is imprisoned in a maximum security facility. Although Kiseki enjoys her brother's visits, she harbors a strong brother complex and appears to be jealous of Takeru's close relationships with his female teammates. Takeru is visibly distressed by the sight of his sister, who is kept in chains and sedated, except for when he visits. Meanwhile, the 35th Platoon apprehends several criminals, earning them a significant number of points. During this time, Takeru experiences a hallucination involving two students, Kiyoya and Yoshimizu, who were believed to have been killed by Haunted. He realizes that Kiyoya is still alive and now works for the chairman. The chairman himself pays a visit to the prison and observes Kiseki being awakened. He discloses a disturbing revelation about Kiseki's condition. She possesses a demon body that dissolves and absorbs anything she touches, causing her demonic parts to grow uncontrollably. This poses a catastrophic threat, as she could consume the entire planet. To prevent this, Kiseki must be periodically killed and revived to eliminate her demonic body parts. While visits from her brother generally improve her mental state, the news of Takeru having female teammates upsets and destabilizes her. This emotional turmoil triggers a surge in her powers, and she transforms into a horned demon, starting to absorb her restraints. The chairman's subordinate, Kurogane, enters her cell to subdue her, and Kiseki cries out for her brother. In another mission, the 35th Platoon tracks an extremely dangerous wizard to his hideout, but they are discovered. Takeru is compelled to chase the wizard, who ends up murdered and absorbed by Kiseki, who has escaped from prison and tracked Takeru by his heartbeat. When the girls discover Takeru, he draws his sword, almost attacking them until they see Kiseki. After calming down, Takeru reveals that Kiseki is his sister and possesses the highest threat level for a witch on the entire planet. He promises to protect his friends from Kiseki. The chairman tasks Kurogane with capturing Kiseki once more. While Kiseki sleeps, Takeru explains her troubled history, revealing that she killed many people as a child, but only because her powers forced her to when she felt threatened. Normally, Kiseki is a sweet and shy girl. Ikaruga adds that Kiseki might be suffering from overflow syndrome, a condition where witches who do not come from witch families struggle to control their magic. While Gleipnir necklaces, like the one Mari wears, can help control this, Kiseki's immense magical energy overloads the necklace, turning her into a potential natural disaster. Takeru sadly admits that the best course of action is to hand her over to the Inquisitors. Uka suggests that Takeru takes an hour to bond with his sister, and the girls dress up Kiseki for a brother-sister outing. During their time together, Kiseki asks Takeru for a favor, and he promises to grant her request. Kiseki shocks Takeru by asking him to kill her. Kiseki reveals that her powers have been growing stronger, and they tend to fulfill her wishes, particularly those related to death and destruction, which terrifies her. She desperately wishes to die to prevent herself from causing any more harm and asks Takeru to be the one to end her life. Takeru, however, refuses and instead promises to protect her until the day she loses all control, at which point he will stand by her side, even if it means his own demise. Valhalla members Orochi and Canaria, who now goes by the name Miss Watery, discover that Kiseki has escaped from prison and set out to capture her. Takeru and Kiseki are suddenly attacked by Kiyoya and Yoshimizu, who attempt to kill Kiseki. Takeru activates his Relic Eater to defend her, but soon realizes that Yoshimizu is actually Kiyoya's Relic Eater, in human form, similar to Lapis. Their confrontation is interrupted by the arrival of Kurogane and multiple dragoons. Kiseki is subsequently apprehended and fitted with a Gleipnir. Takeru apologizes for failing to protect her, and promises to visit her in prison. Kiseki makes him swear to keep their other promise before succumbing to the sedative in the Gleipnir, causing her to collapse. Takeru is placed in solitary confinement for aiding Kiseki in evading capture. The chairman informs Takeru that Kiseki will be transferred to a secret alchemist facility in hopes of finally suppressing her powers. Miss Watery launches an attack on the airplane transport, but discovers that it's a decoy, as Kiseki is actually being transported by truck. Kyoya reveals his intention to eliminate Haunted and any other heretics he can find. However, the truck carrying Kiseki comes under attack by Valhalla's dragoons. In a flashback, Takeru recalls discovering his little sister, Kiseki, in a storehouse near their home. He learned from his father that every daughter born into their clan for generations was considered a demon and killed at birth. Over time, each generation produced more powerful demon girls, until Kiseki was born, fully immortal and impossible to kill. She eventually escaped the storehouse and killed their father, leading Takeru to make a solemn vow to protect her, always. In prison, Uka expresses her gratitude to Takeru for bringing peace into her life. They are eventually released by President Nagaru, who reveals that Kiseki was attacked by Valhalla. Members of the 35th Platoon join forces to help Takeru escape. Kyoya and Kurogane face an attack from Orochi, with Kyoya choosing to flee with the truck, but intending to murder Kiseki as a heretic. Takeru arrives on the scene and realizes that Kyoya has been driven insane by his relic, which took on the form of Yoshimizu to intensify his desire for vengeance. After a brief confrontation, Kyoya is overwhelmed by Takeru and Uka but manages to escape. Watching from nearby, the chairman laments that Takeru does not yet comprehend the truth. As Kiseki witnesses Takeru's injury at the hands of Haunted, her powers go out of control. She begins absorbing everything around her, growing to an enormous size. As Kiseki continues to grow, she absorbs buildings and people within the city, her monstrous form expanding with each passing moment. The chairman observes this phenomenon and is soon joined by alchemist chairwoman Suzuka Suginami, along with Isuka and Ikaruga's childlike mother. They had orchestrated this entire situation to witness Kiseki's uncontrollable growth and assess whether she possesses any scientific value. The chairwoman and the chairman place a wager on whether Takeru will be able to bring himself to kill his own sister. To save Takeru and confront Haunted, Uka finally forms a complete contract with her relic eater Vlad, unlocking her own witch hunter armor. During the battle, Haunted is knocked into Kiseki and subsequently absorbed. Uka, along with the injured Takeru, escapes with the other girls but soon finds themselves trapped by Kiseki's expanding body. In Takeru's dream, Lapis confronts him and reminds him of the promise he made when they first formed their contract, to sacrifice what is precious to him in pursuit of his goals and to relinquish his humanity for power. She kisses him and begins to consume his soul in exchange for unlocking his God Hunter mode. Kiseki's body begins to disintegrate, releasing flying demons into the sky to attack Uka. Takeru awakens suddenly, clad in much more potent armor, and forcibly deactivates Uka's relic eater. He instructs the girls to seek safety before his soul is entirely consumed, making it clear that he might cease being Takeru in the process. Uka pleads with him not to shoulder the burden of killing his own sister. Takeru leaves to find Kiseki, and before he can reach her, he is confronted by Haunted, who resisted being absorbed and is determined to take Kiseki to Valhalla. While they engage in a fierce duel, Kiseki begins to blame Takeru for not ending her life years ago, which allowed her to become a monstrous entity. Takeru expresses his desire to save his sister and return home with his friends. Kiseki, conflicted, wants Takeru to live happily, but also to fulfill his promise of dying with her. This internal struggle causes the demon bodies to destabilize, and Kiseki vanishes within them. Takeru ultimately prevails against Haunted, and, rather than killing Kiseki, he throws himself into her body. He locates his sister and pulls her free, separating her from the encroaching demon bodies, which subsequently dissolve and vanish. However, Takeru cannot bring himself to end her life. Valhalla retreats, and Orochi chastises the chairman for attempting to manipulate Takeru into reigniting an ancient war. The chairman, revealed to be over 150 years old, is confronted about his actions. Takeru feels immense guilt, believing that he has only condemned Kiseki to more suffering in the future. The girls assure him that they will always be there to share his burdens and support him, no matter what challenges lie ahead. Fellow weebs, if you enjoyed the recap, subscribe and turn on notifications for more hilarious videos. Also, if you would like to buy some cool anime keychains, then go ahead and check my description below.